Yes, hello to you viewers. My name is Kenneth Comeau. I'm doing this film to express like a concern that I have. I am in the process of restoring our marriage, and I have run into some difficulty. So I've produced a booklet, and also this video itself, and a booklet to help to express and expose some corruption I feel is taking place with Pastor Hugh Morrison and the Margaree Valley Baptist Church in the situation that I am in. Now, I will admit that I believe there has been some misunderstanding in the situation. Maybe false information was maybe brought to them, causing some of the opposition that they have towards restoring our marriage. But this booklet would help to explain. I'll just put the title closer here. Yeah, this is a booklet that I've typed. It's about six pages long, and it helps to, like I said, explain some of the wrong and the corruption that took place in that church, and for different reasons. So I'll explain the situation to the best of my ability, and the best thing I think is for me to read some of this material and then to try to explain it. So this is review, like for some of you, but it needs to be reviewed. So I'll start. It says, Pastor Hugh and the Margaree Valley Baptist Church, corruption. It has been mentioned in the past that my wife Honora and I had a marriage separation back in May 1997. Our family and I attended Pierre's Bible study group in Cheticamp just that previous winter of December 1996 and January 1997. At the end of January 1997, we had stopped attending Pierre's group and recommenced going to another church, which was the Pentecostal church in Sydney. But Honora had different Bible views. Different Bible views from me there. When we stopped attending, Honora and I had different Bible views on what was being taught at Pierre's group there in Cheticamp. So because we had different Bible views, this led to difficulty, which resulted in a marriage separation. Our marriage counselor, Bruce Lumsden, had told Pierre of the day we were separating. On the evening of the actual day that we separated, Pierre came with Bruce to visit Honora to entice her back into his group. His Bible group at the time in the Cheticamp area had only 5 to 6 people. See, this was a home Bible study group that Pierre had way back then in 1997. Just a small Bible study group. Honora and our 5 school-age children doubled his group. Pierre relished in the spoils of our marriage separation and family breakup for his personal gain. He manipulated the situation in his favor. Bruce told me later that by Honora putting Pierre's Bible group first in her life, in priority over our marriage, that she was putting God first in her life. This was true cult work, manipulated by Pierre. We were a Christian family going to a different church, that PAOC church in Sydney. We said grace at the table at mealtime and had a family Bible reading in the evening after supper. This is what Matthew in the Bible, Matthew 19 verse 6 teaches us. For they are no more two, but one flesh. What God has joined together, let not man put asunder. Then also in Ephesians 5, verses 22 to 25, Titus 2, from 1 to 5, and 1 Peter 3, from 1 to 5, clearly teaches us on the wife being supportive of her husband. Pierre blatantly disregarded the facts that I just mentioned there, and twisted the situation around to benefit his own Bible study group. He made it appear in public of how caring a person that he was by helping poor Honora, a single mother with 5 school-age children. That first December, in the separation, Pierre and his wife took Honora for a fun trip, weekend trip to the Annapolis Valley, and left the 4 oldest of our children at the house they were renting near Sheticamp. She left the youngest of our children at a relative's house. Pierre was making how kind and loving that he was, while our 4 oldest were alone at a rented house in a family crisis, being separated from their father. Matthew 7 from 15 to 20 teaches us about ravening wolves in sheep's clothing. When Pierre came to visit Honora on the evening of the actual day we separated, and that time came to pick up Honora for that weekend trip at the door to the Annapolis Valley, that was Matthew 7 verses 15 to 20 in living reality. That wolf in sheep's clothing at the door. That what Pierre was doing there brings meaning to those words in the Bible. In the Sheticamp area there, that's the Bible in living reality in the Sheticamp area. Pierre disregarded our marriage so that he could accomplish this, like his personal gain. The reason that my family and I had stopped attending Pierre's group back at the end of January 97 was because I felt that there was errors in Pierre's teachings. So I told Honora that it was better for us to stop attending Pierre's group and continue going to the Pentecostal church in Sydney, where we had been going for a number of years before. Pierre mostly kept this information of our family being a godly Christian family as described on page 1. That's what I was just saying earlier, how we were a Christian family. And Pierre disregarded these facts and that we were going to church in Sydney so that he could himself deceive and manipulate the situation in his favor, telling the supporters of Margaree Valley Baptist Church of how mean and a bad husband that I was by not allowing Honora to have fellowship with the other Christians in his group. So Pierre had twisted it around that because I didn't like the idea of Honora going to his group, Pierre had started the rumor there that I was preventing Honora from fellowshipping with other Christians, meaning his little group there, and how mean a man that I was, and that Honora was well justified to be separate from me so that she'd be able to freely go to Pierre's group. I was the husband and father of our school-age children. according to clear Bible principles in the New Testament, I had the right and the privilege to take my family out of Pierre's group and return back with them to the PAOC church in Sydney. But Pierre blatantly disregarded this principle. Pierre, keeping the facts quiet of us as being a godly Christian family, going to another church, he kept this information quiet, and promoting his personal view of how mean and uncaring a husband that I was, managed to deceive and manipulate the Margaree Valley Baptist Church congregation to oppose our marriage. Also, they liked the idea of Honora and the 5 children attending their church in Margaree Valley. As Pierre had done to relish, Margaree Valley Baptist Church made the willing decision to also disregard our marriage and relish in the spoils of our marriage separation. When Pastor Hugh Morrison started as pastor of Margaree Valley Baptist Church, this was the situation that he inherited. It was easier for him to just blatantly disregard the Bible principles on our marriage and to support the popular attitude of Margaree Valley Baptist Church and roll on with the flow. But that was wrong, an error, and the devil's work. What I just said there was when Pastor Hugh came to become pastor of the church, this situation of the marriage separate was already in motion. And many in the church, the Baptist church, had agreed with Pierre against our marriage because they relished in the fact Honora was coming to their church and bringing our children there, and they were quite willing to just disregard the Bible principles on marriage just the way Pierre did. This is a bit surprising now. We understand Pierre doing it, disregarding our marriage and that, but to think how much the Margaree Valley Baptist Church just went along with Pierre's comments and that. But of course there was, I think, some manipulation of Pierre, the way he influenced the church in Margaree Valley. I mean, so there's part of the reason there we understand that Pierre manipulated the church. But then again, the church they were not respecting Bible principles on their marriage. And I can say one thing personally to you, you viewers. Not one single person from Margaree Valley Baptist Church called me or came to visit me or called me to inquire, like some of the rumors they were hearing of how mean and cruel person I was by not allowing Honora to go to Pierre's group. And Honora and I had gone for 5 years with Pierre's group. We were together. This was the first time around. The first time we had been with Pierre's group 5 years, Honora and I, and some of our children. Then we had left and gone to Sydney, and this time that I referred to just earlier, where we went again for 2 months with Pierre's group because it was far to drive to Sydney in winter. So we had gone for 2 months to Pierre's group again when I came to recognize some errors and told my wife we should stop going. So the people at Margaree Valley knew us personally, and they knew me personally. But even at this, even that they knew me personally, and there were some rumors going around of how mean a cruel person I was, not allowing Honora to go, and maybe some other rumors going, I don't know how much. But not one single person from Margaree Valley Baptist Church called me or came to visit me to check on how things was, or if some of the rumors they were having was correct, or if there was any way they could help with our marriage. Not one single person contacted me. They were too much like in this relishing in the spoils of the family breakup, and so pleased to see Honor and the children coming back to their church, and this was more people in their church, more money coming in with Honor's tithe money. They were totally just disregarding our marriage. Now we are March 2017. Pastor Hugh is older, more experienced as a pastor, and more knowledgeable of the situation with the Como marriage. It would be wise, worthwhile, and responsible of him, this is Pastor Hugh, to put less emphasis on Pierre's personal opinions against our marriage, and for him as pastor to base his decisions in this situation on Bible principles supporting our marriage. I believe that the Holy Spirit has shown me a good Bible-based way to help correct this situation. It is to follow the Bible-based pattern taught to us in Matthew 18, chapter 18, verses 15 to 17. Would you, dear reader, please read that passage attentively? That's Matthew chapter 18, verses 15 to 17. Verses 18-15 refers to Pastor Hugh and I. Now we are in March 2017. That Matthew 18:15 says, if you have a difficulty with a brother and that you can't resolve it, ask 2 other witnesses of that church to help. So in Matthew 18:16 refers to contacting 2, they call them witnesses, to help resolve the matter. So I am in the process of speaking to 2 Margaree Valley Baptist Church supporters as witnesses, as is taught in Matthew 18, verse 16, in order to help out. They are to be witnesses of this situation and willing to help out. Hopefully, with 2 witnesses to help in this difficulty that I have with Pastor Hugh, that the situation will improve, and that Pastor Hugh will be more Bible principle responsible in this situation. Matthew 18:17, the first part of this verse teaches us that it is, if the 2 witnesses are not able to help in this situation, that I am to inform the church congregation and ask for their help. This is what Matthew 18:17 teaches us. And if he, Pastor Hugh, neglects to hear them, the 2 witnesses, tell it to the church. But if he neglects to hear the church, let him be to you as a heathen man and a publican. So, that's part of what's going on right now. Just to clarify what I read, that passage in Matthew 18, like I said, it refers to if you have difficulty with a brother in the church, talk to that person first. And if you can't reason with him, then take 2 witnesses to offer help, to help him to resolve the matter. If he still will not listen to the 2, then take the difficulty to the whole church group. So now I have another passage here entitled Living Reality. It would be nice and practical and commendable if Pastor Hugh would be more supportive of Bible principles, or that the 2 witnesses referred or someone from the congregation was able to help Pastor Hugh recognize the importance of him as pastor of the Baptist Church to be more Bible responsible in this situation. As mentioned already, Matthew 19:6, for they are no more 2, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let not man put asunder. This verse and the others on the wife supporting her husband should also be recognized and respected by Pastor Hugh. What I'm saying there, I don't think that Pastor Hugh is to disregard these passages on marriage and that. What I'm referring to is I believe these passages in the Bible referring to marriage and supporting marriage. What I'm referring to is I believe they refer to Pastor Hugh also. That's what I'm saying in this passage. I don't think that that was meant for other people and Pastor Hugh just to disregard those verses. But again, I mean, it's because of Pierre Chesson's manipulation upon him that causes and prompts Pastor Hugh to disregard the Bible principles on our marriage. So we understand a part of why he's doing it. The influence of Pastor Hugh and the influence of the church congregation against our marriage motivates Pastor Hugh to oppose our marriage and to refuse to help to restore the marriage. We understand why he's doing it, but it's still not right. And it's still not Bible responsible. And in the event that Pastor Hugh refuses to give more credit to the Bible principles on our marriage, then the situation moves to the latter part of Matthew 18:17 to view Pastor Hugh as a heathen for the blatant disregard of Bible principles in respect to our marriage and his gross corruption in disregarding our marriage and using his position as pastor to also influence others in the congregation to disregard our marriage. I believe Pastor Hugh has used his influence as a pastor to bring like a negative attitude or viewpoint. I believe he's influenced some of the elders there and some in the congregation to oppose our marriage, and I think this is not correct. If Pastor Hugh continues to put Pierre's personal opinions against our marriage in priority, if Pastor Hugh continues to put his personal opinion, the priority there, following Pierre's opinion against our marriage, in priority in his life over Bible principles on our marriage, then this is wrong and serious. If the situation reaches this point of the latter part of verse 18-17, then I publicly ask the congregation of Margaree Valley Baptist Church to dismiss Pastor Hugh as their pastor and to find a more Bible principle, creditable, and responsible pastor. I will be mailing sealed envelopes with stamps with this booklet in it, publicly asking for Pastor Hugh's dismissal. I also have an internet website entitled pastorhugh&mvbccorruption.com, which is scheduled to come on the air in the latter part of the week of March 19th. In the latter part, around March 22nd, 23rd, this website should be coming on air. I will be promoting this website in the mail, these booklets I'll be sending to people across Margaree Valley and Margaree Center. Get Informed. I'll show you closely the title of the website. There's the title of the website. Now, basically, I'm going to tell you viewers what I'm doing and intending to do in a few words. Most of you know that supposedly a pastor should be responsible to Bible principles. I mean, let's say Pastor Hugh, he tells it in public. He's a pastor. He went to Bible college in Ontario. He's the pastor of Margaree Valley Baptist Church for some time now. He makes claim in public that he believes in the Bible. Okay. If this is the situation in a nutshell, if Pastor Hugh has the respect to respect Bible principles and call me, I'll try to arrange it for him to get my phone number. And if Pastor Hugh has the respect to call me and to say that he's considered the situation more clearly and he'd like to discuss, if there's something he can do to help in the marriage restoration. If Pastor Hugh will have that respect, then there's no need for me to mail these booklets out and to promote my website on the internet. If he acts with respect before himself and his family and before God and the public in Margaree Valley there, if Pastor Hugh shows himself to be a responsible pastor and acts with respect and creditability and common sense, there's no need for publicity. But I guess we have to be realistic. This says living reality. To some extent, I recognize the extent that Pastor Hugh, the manipulation that Pierre Chesson has put on Pastor Hugh. Like I mentioned it already in the booklet. When Pastor Hugh started at pastor, he was a young pastor, a new pastor, no experience, zero. And he takes on this church, a pastorship in the church in Margaree Valley. So Pierre is already in position, very manipulative, and influences Pastor Hugh. Like in the mid-'80s, even before Pastor Hugh came in the mid-'80s, that's when I was going with Pierre those 5 years. Pierre was influential in causing Margaree Valley Baptist Church to separate from the United Baptist Convention with the head office in Moncton. So Pierre was influential to help them to separate and Margaree Valley be an independent church, which it did. So here, look, when Pastor Hugh Morrison comes in, takes the job of a pastor, the Margaree Valley is not associated with other churches, it's independent. He's a young pastor, fresh out of college. Pierre Chesson's there, an older man, more experience in the work, very manipulative. And then we're separated by then. So Pastor Hugh inherits this position, manipulated by Pierre, where a good portion of the congregation in the church supports our marriage separation. Like I mentioned, so they can relish in Honora coming to their church. So I understand that things are in a very difficult situation right now. And even by talking to some people and in the church and talking to Pastor Hugh, I don't know if things will turn around or not. So if Pastor Hugh chooses to continue to oppose our marriage restoration, then I have no choice but to put the publicity out, which I intend to mail these booklets in sealed envelopes and stamps. I intend to mail a good quantity of these booklets in the Margaree Valley area and Margaree Center. And these booklets will be promoting my website on the internet. And I believe it's only fair and proper for this publicity of Pastor Hugh Morrison and the congregation of Margaree Valley Baptist Church to be exposed. I know in one sense it's not nice, it's not polite. Yes, so what I was saying, you know, hopefully, I mean, that Pastor Hugh would be Bible responsible and base his decisions on Bible principles, and that would help our situation out, like I said. But however, because of the very difficult situation, and because of the mind control upon Pastor Hugh from Pierre, if Pastor Hugh, I mean, and the influence of the church also upon him, if Pastor Hugh refuses to respect Bible principles and continue in the gross corruption that he's involved to it right now, I'm planning to mail these booklets in sealed envelopes and stamps in to different people within the Margaree Valley area and the Margaree Center. I'm going to take a telephone book and take the names in the phone book and mail this to the general public in the Margaree Valley and Margaree Center. And as you've seen earlier, it tells my website on the internet, which explains this information, to educate the people on what's going on. Now, I don't want to be mean. I'm not doing this to be mean. I'm doing this to educate the people that there is something not correct with the manner that Pastor Hugh is doing things. And hopefully, and I'm also asking on this website, I'm publicly asking to you viewers that if someone would have the willingness and the courage to speak to Pastor Hugh, to tell him that, I mean, it's not proper the way he's responding about our marriage. Like, I'm asking him now, if as a pastor, if he would please help this situation and phone me on the phone to offer some type of help. And that way it negates, or it removes the need for this matter to go more public. So I'll continue on with my reading now, and I've put here very irresponsible. Very irresponsible, and this refers to Mr. Pastor Hugh Morrison. Back in the spring of 2015, I had called Pastor Hugh to ask him for help to restore our marriage. He was somewhat puzzled on the phone, you know, of how to respond. I said, I can call you later to check. Several days later, I called Pastor Hugh again. This time, he flatly refused to help and was giving me cheap excuses why not to help. Shortly before having these two talks with Pastor Hugh, I had talked to Pierre Chiasson on the phone for over an hour, asking him to help restore our marriage. As honorous pastor and making claims in public that he believed in the Bible, I assumed that this is Pierre, would be a qualified person to help to restore our marriage. I was sadly mistaken. Pierre had also flatly refused to help and was giving me these cheap excuses why not to help. Pastor Hugh's excuses on the phone why not to help were the identical same ones that Pierre had given me. It was similar to listening to an audio cassette. Pastor Hugh, as an ordained pastor of Margaree Valley Baptist Church, had willingly made the decision to blatantly disregard Bible principles on marriage in our situation and regard Pierre's personal opinions opposed to our marriage as his priority in this matter. This is what Matthew 19:6 teaches us, for they are no more two, but one flesh. What God has therefore joined together, let not man put asunder. In the reference to man in this verse, would this not also apply to Pastor Hugh? Question mark. I believe so. Yet he willingly made the decision to disregard this verse and the other verses. But this is rather surprising, and this is surprising and corrupt. I mean, imagine this point. Pastor Hugh Morrison, as a pastor, willingly, blatantly disregarding Bible principles on our marriage and putting in priority Pierre's personal views against the marriage. I mean, and we understand, the reason again. Pierre is directly against our marriage, so he can honor us continued strong support of his cult group, his social club cult group that he has. Pierre wants to honor us support, so he will refuse to help. If you, dear readers, would like a free copy of my DVD entitled Pastor Hugh Morrison and Margaree Valley Baptist Church Corruption, you may write to me. That's at my Shedicamp address here. It's Kenneth Comeau, P.O. Box 1261, Shedicamp, Nova Scotia, BOE 1HO. This is if you'd like your own personal copy of this video here that's showing now. May you, of whom personally support Margaree Valley Baptist Church, take a responsible stand on this situation before God, and to respect His Bible principles before your families in respect of what is correct and responsible, and yourselves, your own conscience before God, to abstain associating with Margaree Valley Baptist Church until this matter is resolved. May you be blessed and rewarded of God, yourselves and your families, according to the degree that you respect Bible principles and have a desire to help others in difficulty. What I'm saying there, as what I read, I believe that you, the supporters of Margaree Valley Baptist Church, the congregation, also have responsibility in this situation. I believe that some of you should be more responsible to speak to Pastor Hugh, to remind him to base his decisions more on Bible principles on marriage. I believe it would be proper and responsible of you, the congregation of Margaree Valley Baptist Church, to either help Pastor Hugh to be more, like I said, Bible responsible. And if he declines, I believe it would be worthwhile for you to abstain or to stop supporting Margaree Valley Baptist Church until this matter is resolved. I think that would be good on your part, to stop going and supporting Margaree Valley Baptist Church until this matter is resolved. So the last page on the booklet here, it says, the blind leaders of the blind. Leading the blind. Matthew 15:14. Let them, Margaree Baptists alone, they, Baptists, be blind leaders of the blind. And if the blind, Pierre and Pastor Hugh, lead the blind, that's the Margaree Valley Baptist Church, both will go into the ditch of corruption and public exposure. That comes from that verse, Matthew 15, verse 14. Pastor Hugh Morrison has willingly decided, yeah, I've already said that, disregarded our marriage in order to support Pierre. I've already said that. There is much evidence that in the manner that Pierre Chesson operates his church group in the Shedigamp area, of the manner that his supporters idolize him with his guitar and song, and put his personal views above Bible principles, strong evidence of cult activity. By Pastor Hugh being so closely associated with Pierre and following his private instructions in priority above Bible principles, is also evidence of cult activity at Margaree Valley Baptist Church. To the public, be careful, pay more attention to what they're actually doing than just the sweet things that they are saying with their mouths. So I believe this is what I just said there. I do believe that Pierre is operating a cult in the Shedigamp area, the way he's done things, like I've mentioned. And by Pastor Hugh being so closely associated with Pierre and following his personal instructions to the degree that he is, I think, and then he influences the church with that after. So by Pastor Hugh and the church being so closely associated with Pierre and Pierre's cult group in the Shedigamp area, I believe it's causing cult activity in the Baptist church in Margaree Valley. I believe there's evidence of that. I mean, and if you people, once you read my material, and I maybe for yourselves, you may detect cult activity in the Baptist church in Margaree Valley.